I'm Sean Gregory, Time Senior Editor, and I'm thrilled to be joined by 2020 NBA Bubble MVP, Portland Trailblazers star, Damian Lillard. Damian, thanks so much for joining us on Time 100 Talks.
No problem. I appreciate y'all having me.
You know, you're having this kind of performance that's very rare in athletes. You know, the shots you're making, it's like you throw your hands up and people are like, what's going on, screaming. I know I woke up some people in my house the other night, and I know I'm not alone just watching this stuff. Well, you know, you're down there. What's been the key to this? I mean, is there anything that can explain this? Something in the bubble or something else? I mean, what's going on here? How are you doing this?
I think the the main thing is just the time off. You know, we had 4.5 months of, resting our bodies and being away from the game. So just coming back fresh physically, mentally, and also having, used that time wisely and preparing, not even knowing that we was going to come back and play or if we was going to come back and play or not. I assumed that we were, and I made sure I got my conditioning in, my body maintenance, treatment, getting stronger. I was coming off a growing injury, and I was kind of tending to that, making sure I was getting my groin back strong. I was just on top of it. I was eating right. My chef was, making all healthy meals. I had my whole household on healthy meals. Just spending a lot of time with my family. It was smooth, and I think a lot of that prep and a lot of that time off is allowing me to perform at the level that I'm performing at now. Usually we will be coming into this point fresh off of 82 games. Now we coming off hiatus in 8 games, to find our rhythm and get back into the swing of things and then into the playoffs. So I'm feeling a lot fresher right now. My body feels great.
Damian, I should note for our viewers, you as a playoff participant, you just got to change hotels. You're in your new room. You just got there. Is it an upgrade?
It's definitely a downgrade. My room at the yacht club was probably the best room in the house. I had the presidential suite, and it came with a huge bedroom, nice bathroom, a big living room space, a kitchen space, a room that I was recording music in and everything. So it had a great setup. And this room is pretty cool. I got a connecting room. It's a lot of space. It just doesn't compare to my first room. So.
Wait a second. You're the NBA Bubble MVP. You're playing like you're playing, and you got a downgrade after beating the Lakers in Game 1?
Hey, we went from, I guess, being the top team of that hotel, because it was all the teams in that hotel trying to get a playoff spot. So we went from being the top team over there. Now we join in the teams that been ahead of us all along. So, I guess it was short-lived.
Damian, you're being described in a lot of circles. A lot of people are saying you're the best basketball player on the planet right now. Do you agree with that assessment?
I mean, I'm just trying to be the best basketball player that I could be for my team, so we can continue to win games in advance. I don't really put any stock at all in people saying I'm the best basketball player in the world or whatever they want to say. I missed 2 free throws a week and a half ago, and everybody was saying the complete opposite. So those type of comments or opinions, they change every week. Every few days, people going to be saying something different. So, like I said, I don't put too much stock in it, positive or negative. I just try to do my work, try to do things the right way, and, put myself in the best position to be successful. And when I do that at a high level, it works well for me and it works well for our team. So I honestly don't really care what they're saying about, who is the best player or any of that.
It's often said, Damian, that your style, you kind of play with a chip on your shoulder. Do you agree with that? And if so, why? Why do you have that chip, that motivation?
I would agree with it. I think it's natural for me to play with a chip on my shoulder because of what I come from, the circumstances that I come from. And as, I didn't play for a top AAU team. I wasn't a phenom growing up. I played for the local program. Our parents paid for us to travel and play in tournaments, or we had to fundraise. We did, we had to learn how to earn things and work for things. And we practiced in a abandoned adult school. Um, we caught the bus to practice. We experienced a lot, and I didn't start getting recruited until I was finishing 11th grade. Went to a small school. I think my story is it comes with that chip. And when you experience that for so long, years and years and years, it becomes a part of you to where you find a slight in every single thing. And you just throw it on the fire. It's wood on the fire in every situation. And I've just become accustomed to doing that naturally.
And is part of it also you're up in the Pacific Northwest playing for Portland, not with the major markets? Do you think you're more underappreciated or unrecognized than, say, a Harden, LeBron, et cetera, et cetera? Do you think that's part of it too?
I mean, I think guys like that are recognized the way they are, and rightfully so. They the best of the best. I think it does play a part being in a smaller market, tucked off like we are in Portland. But I mean, at times I do feel underappreciated. But it's not something that I lose sleep over. I'm just like, oh, I see what's going on. I see what it is. And like I just mentioned, I use that as wood on the fire. Regardless of how much it might or might not mean to me, I still use little small slights like that to keep pushing myself and to remind myself that it's room to grow. There's still things to work and to fight for, and that's how I use it.
The NBA's three-point revolution is no secret. Teams are taking more threes than ever. It's been a gradual ascent. But you're taking it to another level. I mean, pulling up in front of the half-court line, we've never seen this kind of performance. Do you think you're changing the game right now?
I think so. But I think, since I was a kid, I always shot from deep. Me and my brother would play horse, and part of the harder shots we would try to shoot on each other was to shoot from far away. And sometimes my brother would be like, you got to shoot from far away, but it got to be your normal shot. You can't throw it or nothing like that. Like, that's the kind of detail we played horse and one-on-one with. So I've naturally had that type of range since I was a kid. But since I've, gotten deeper into college and into the NBA, I started to work on those deep shots with better detail. And focus on my body and my balance and my core strength and having my release all the way up and keeping my fingers straight and having my eyes up on the rim early as I'm, gathering into the shot. Just stuff like that I really pay close attention to make it an efficient shot for me. And I think now it is changing the game because now, you seeing guards playing from further out. So where it's putting the defense at their mercy, where it's like, are you going to bring the big that far away from the rim to try to defend a three-point line if a guy can shoot from off the dribble? And what if they can get to the rim? I think it's changing. You become more of a threat when you can play from that far out. And I think in the NBA, you saw Steph Curry coming out firing deep shots. And I think he was the first guy that people recognized just bombing threes from deep. And I think myself and Steph are, two of the guys that shoot it at a really, really high clip. And it's not a hard shot for us. I think Trae Young as well. But it's definitely changing the game.
Do you think you're bringing even a level beyond Steph Curry? I mean, from afar, it seems that way. I'm curious if you think you're taking it even higher than that.
I mean, I think I'm attacking that part of the game more often than Steph does. I look for that shot. You know what I mean? I think Steph is more than capable of shooting it. I mean, I think Steph shoots the ball easily from there, just like I shoot it easily from there. But I'm coming off looking for that opportunity. It's a shot that I'm looking for. And I think had Steph been healthy this year, he'd probably be doing the same thing. I know like I said, he's been doing it for a long time. But he's in a system where, he has the opportunity to toe the line more often than I do. I have the ball in my hands a lot. Myself and CJ are the primary ball handlers and playmakers, so we don't have the same style offense as they do. So, I'm not coming off as many pin downs, and I'm not, getting as many swing, catch and shoot threes. But I do think, Steph is is everything that I'm doing, Steph is capable of doing it from that range. You know, he's the best shooter in the history of the game, in my opinion. So I do think I'm doing it, you know, as with great detail, and it's something that I look to do. Like I look for those opportunities in transition. I look for them when the big is up, but not, you know, close enough to me when I come off and I'm in like, you know, deep range, and I'll shoot it. So I think I'm pushing the line a little bit further with how often I'm doing it. I saw a stat where it said, you know, how I've made the record of that many of 30 plus feet threes this season, and it was by a long shot. So I think that shows how often I'm shooting them and at the, you know, high of a clip that I'm shooting it at.
Damian, in a normal playoff season, the playoff series, the 8th seed would not have a home court advantage. There would be no neutral court. You've won game one. Does the fact that you don't have to travel to LA, play in LA, all that kind of stuff, does it give you even more confidence that you could pull this series out?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think every team in the bubble should be, you know, just a little bit more confident because it's no home court advantage, no fans. You know, that comfort is taken away, knowing that the energy is going to be in your favor. The crowd is going to be in your favor. You know, teams naturally play faster. Teams naturally play more confident on their home floor. But when it's a neutral site, you know, the only energy being generated is from yourself, you know, from your team. And only excitement is from, you know, the passion that you just have about playing the game. So I think it definitely makes it a harder championship to win for everybody. It makes it a more even playing field. And it definitely gives us more confidence knowing, you know, we don't have to play on somebody else's floor. We don't have to travel. You know, it's just an even playing field.
Damian, switching gears to the very important topic of social justice and athlete activism, you attended a protest against police brutality and racial injustice in Portland after the death of George Floyd. What did you learn from that experience?
I think one of the biggest takeaways that I had was it was led by really young people. And when you look back at the civil rights movement, a lot of, you know, the names that we recognize in Black history they were really young at the time. And when I got out there, you know, I was expecting to see a full Black crowd, you know, fighting for, you know, what was right, fighting for ourselves and protesting for what we really believe in and that change that we looking for. And when I got there, it was as many white people as it was Black people. And to me, that said a lot, you know, to see that type of support and to see that type of balance, you know, fighting for the same cause and the right cause, even when you got people who aren't directly affected by it, you know, people who just see that, you know, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And they don't only want to see change, but they're trying to be a part of the change. And that was a big deal. Another thing was just the tension that I felt. We marched and it was, you know, thousands of people. And it was just like, you know, we could come face to face with the police at any time. You know, you don't know how physical it can get. You don't know if it'll be fatal. You just don't know. And then you marching, you chanting. You see the passion that people have being a part of this movement. You know how passionate they are about the change and the pressure being applied. And you become, I guess, taken over by it. You know, you become a part of it, and you feel the passion from them, and you know, you feel connected to like the Dr. Martin Luther Kings, the people who did it before you, who allowed us to have the kind of lives that we have today. And now you're a part of, you know, that next stage of trying to push that forward, you know, from here. So it was a lot of emotions, you know, a lot of feelings that I had, a lot of things that I took away from it. And that was just a few.
For the people who don't want politics in the sports, the shut up and dribble crowd, what's your response to that?
My response to that is, when you don't want politics in the sports, you got to ask yourself, does politics affect our lives? You know, like, does it affect our lives? So if if it has an effect on our lives, positive or negative, why can't we speak on it, or why shouldn't we speak on it or have an opinion about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm a free agent and a team is telling me, well, this is how we do things, this is what we want to do, this is how we run our organization, and it doesn't stand in line with what I represent and what I believe in and what I see as the best situation for me, I'm going to say something. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to pass on being a part of that organization, because it is going to have an effect on me and my family and my career. I'm going to say something. So I don't see why, if when it comes to politics, why would we not say anything? Why would we have no opinion about it if it's going to have an effect on our lives and our families' lives and so on and so forth? Like, I think that was just a dumb statement to make. We people before we're athletes. So you're basically telling me I'm not a person. I'm just an athlete that should not say nothing, just play sports and entertain us. When that's a whole separate issue. You know, just that type of mentality about an athlete speaking out, you know, as far as politics go.
Go back to the court for to run down a few things that I have to ask on behalf of NBA fans. What do you think of Paul George and Pat Beverly?
I think Paul George is a great player. One of the best players in the league. You know, at one point, you know, when he was with the Pacers and he was leaving Indiana, we wanted him to come to Portland. You know, he's a great player. And Pat Beverly has had to earn everything that he has in the league. I remember when he was in Houston my second year, he wasn't even in the rotation. And by the end of the year, he was starting. And from that point on, he's been a starter in the league, you know, just through hard work and being a competitor and just having that fight to him, you know, wanting it and just, you know, willing to do whatever to help a team and be on the floor. So I respect them both as players. You know, we just had a run-in. I came up short at the end of a game, and they said what they said, and I said what I said, you know, but it ain't like no personal beef. We men, you know, and when a man says something, another man is going to say something back, and it's going to be what it's going to be, and that's what it was.
Yep, and you said, like, quote, keep switching teams. You wrote on Instagram to Paul George. It's no secret. You don't seem to be the biggest fan of players who kind of form super teams, who engineer things to join other stars.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, I'm a huge LeBron James fan, and you know, LeBron has switched teams and been a part of a super team. I don't have an issue with that. I love Kevin Durant's game. He switched teams, and, you know, I don't have an issue with it. My only thing is that's not my preference. That's not my personal preference. So I don't have an issue with other people deciding to do it. It's just not my personal preference. So that's all it is. And when I said that, keep switching teams, you know, that was just, they took a jab at me, so I just took one back.
But fundamentally, why would it be so much sweeter for you to win a title in Portland, the franchise you're synonymous with, than joining forces with other stars? Why would it be so, you know, why is it your preference, essentially?
I think, for one, because of the time invested, you know, the time invested in growing and figuring it out and having hard experiences, having great experiences. I feel like you got to go through the ups. Sometimes you're going to have high moments, and then you're going to have low moments. But I've always been about the journey, you know, just embracing the journey, the peaks and valleys, and having it come back around, you know, knowing you worked hard, you did stuff right, you took the good with the bad, and then you get the reward for, you know, for all of that, like Dirk did. You know, that's the example that I always think of, because he did it. And then when they won it, they weren't expected to win it. They just won it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that one ring of his made his career, like, just perfect. You know what I'm saying? And it may not go that way for me, but, like, that's what I want to see for myself. I feel like if I did, you know, say, oh, these two guys are in New York or, you know, in LA or whatever, you know, if I did decide I want to go play with some other guys, I feel like it's a pretty good chance we'll win it. I'm sure that's what a lot of guys feel like. It's a pretty good chance I'll be able to win it all. But like, I don't just want to win it all. I want to win it all here. We haven't won it since '77. It's been a long time. Um, and I also don't want to do it in a way where it's like the second I go play with these guys, everybody gonna be like, "Oh, they the favorite." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my life, and that's not my style. So that's my personal reason for why I wouldn't want to do it.
And last thing, Damian, and thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule. Your message to Portland fans and to fans of great basketball, really. What do you want to get out there? What do you want to say in closing?
To the Portland fans, I just want to say, it's unfortunate we can't be playing this playoff in front of our fans. Even though we worked so hard to get here, but I'm happy we could still be on the floor representing the city of Portland, and kind of giving them something to smile about and giving them something to be proud of in these hard times. And the same goes for the NBA fans. I think everybody's kind of having a hard time. People being sick with COVID and being out of work and just not having a lot to be happy about. And I'm just happy that the NBA did a great job in finding a way to get us back on the floor, creating a safe environment for us to get back out there and give people something to be entertained by, and something to be happy about, and something to look forward to that's positive. So I'm just happy that the NBA is back and we can do that for people.
Thanks so much for your time, Damian.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.